Well, I'm Mark Christopher, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Mark.
That's a lot of people. You all right, though? So, let's see, get it together here. Okay, so my sobriety date's 6/24/2011. Man, time flies, especially in recovery. That's what I've noticed about recovery is it seems like yesterday that I was coming in here out of the colony scared to death. I'm a little nervous tonight, but a whole lot more nervous than I am tonight. Sitting right over there about where Tanner is, and I'm about to rattle out of my shoes. And I'm grateful for the people that were here and stuck their hands out and said, "Sit down right here. It's going to be okay." You know, some of them are still here, and some of them aren't. And I'm grateful for all of them. I really am. So what I'm going to try to do is tell you what it was like, what happened, and what it's like today. And I don't know, maybe I'll start with a little today. What I was able to do today is I got up this morning early, and I went down to the colony, and I was off today, and I went down there and got a weed eater out and was able to weed eat around the colony and trim the road at the colony and actually enjoy myself. You know, I was thinking how fortunate I am to be able to do this. And just some manual labor on a daily basis and enjoy it for a change. You know, spend some time with God out there. I remember I did that in early recovery for 2 years. We called it landscaping. That's just a fancy word for a grass mower. But it's what I found out. But we dug some ditches too, but mainly mowed grass. But I was out there today, and if I seek God, I have these moments, just these moments, and I'm out there. You know, Harold's mowing the grass on the riding mower, and he was like my first AA hero. You know, and I needed those guys, and I wanted to be like Harold. I came to meetings because I wanted to be like him. I wanted to have what he had. And I still love Harold, but today I come to meetings because I want to be like me. I want to have what I have. That's why I keep coming to meetings. You know, and I still have my AA heroes, but today I like being me. I didn't like being me back then. I needed somebody I wanted to be like. And he was one of them, and there's a lot of them in these rooms. They know who they are. I'm not going to try to call them all out by name. But anyway, back to my sobriety date, 6/24/2011. I tell this sometimes is I look that up in the Bible, and it's Matthew 6:24 in the New Testament. And what it said was, no man can serve two masters. And, I don't know. I needed to see that because I know for sure, I come in here when I was 44 years old. So to help you with the math, I just turned 50. And I feel better than I've felt in a long time. You know, and but I knew at 44, when I read that, I said, man, that's exactly what I've done. I have served money and material things my whole life. You know, and it says clearly you can't serve God and money. And I think that's what our book tells me too. So anyway, I was raised I was on Poplar Street, Crest Drive in Aberdeen. It's about maybe on the long side, 5 miles from here. First girl I ever called my girlfriend, early grade school, fourth grade, fourth grade. She lived on the corner right down here at the end of the street, right there. Bertram House there. And I never knew I'd be in this building. We'd come by here, and I hear people say it, but my parents always told me to stay away from this building. That's the truth. What I know today is they didn't know what was going on up here. They thought it was some bad people, and there's really a lot of the best people I've ever met in my life in this room here, in this building, and around this building. And I didn't know what was going on here my whole life. If I had, maybe it wouldn't have took me till I was 44 to get in here. So here's what happened is I was raised, I had 3 brothers. I'm not a guy that, I can't tell you I had it bad. I had it pretty good. My mom and dad provided for us good. My mom was a country girl out of Dublin, North Carolina. She was the type of lady that saved her bacon grease in a little jar on the stove. A lot of people don't know. We don't do it in my house no more, you know, but I ain't about to tell my wife to start doing it either. But if you knew my wife, you'd think that was a whole lot funnier. But anyway, I don't tell her to do much. So here's what my mom was. She was just a good lady. She was a true believer. She believed in God, and she turned towards God, and she used God on a daily basis. I've seen her pray every day of my life. She had this thing she'd tell us every night before bed. She'd say, "Good night, sweet dreams, God bless you, and I love you." And she'd say that to us every night. We were brought up to say that. We were brought up in the Page Memorial Methodist Church right here in Aberdeen. And when I'd be in that church, we hear people say all the time, it just didn't mean a whole lot to me. I seen the ugly trees. I missed the forest for the ugly trees. It says it in the book. Like, I would see the people I didn't like, the ones that were talking behind people's back and all that. And I'll tell you the truth, I was sitting there I couldn't wait to get out and go shoot my BB gun. That's what was going on. Like, I couldn't wait to get out and have my son down. I've been in school all week long, and I couldn't wait to get out and do what I wanted to do. My mom got a lot out of it, you know. But, me and my brothers and my dad didn't. My dad be down there on the end of the aisle, sleeping. Yeah, I remember him snoring every now and then. But my dad was a good man, though. Here's the deal: is he didn't realize he suffered from untreated addiction. He never had the opportunity that I have, and man, I'm so grateful for that. Like, he died not realizing what he died from. He could not stop self-defeating behaviors, no matter what. It was from one thing to another. When he married my mom, no alcohol at all, none in the house. Well, he was a vet and he was disabled, so he used he used pills. And I didn't know what was going on with him. I just knew like things were kind of going crazy in the house. My mom would be at the sink singing "How Great Thou Art" and "I Want to Stroll Over Heaven with You" and "Amazing Grace," and she could sing in a sweet voice. And she was being tortured mentally by my dad. And I seen that. And that's like I say it all the time. That's when I started to question God. Here's this lady that is seeking God. It's like I see her doing it every day, and enter my dad. And then I start going, well, where's God? Why is he letting this man do that to my mom? And what I was doing, man, my whole life, I was building this resentment against my dad, and I had no clue what was going on in my heart. And what it was doing, it was making me cold and hard, and it was just making me a bad man is what it was doing. It was pushing the good out of me. The good that my mom had worked so hard to put in me. It was pushing it out of me. And I wanted to, here's what I did. I seen my mom doing this. I seen my dad doing this. And I went my dad's way. You know, the very man I was building this resentment for, the truth is, in the end, I'll probably turn out to be a little worse than him. So, but I don't know, we'll probably bounce all over the place tonight. We'll see. But here's the thing: is I remember, I'm gonna tell you all this. I thought about this driving here. I would come in from school, and my mom always had sweet tea in the refrigerator. And you know how I drink sweet tea? When I was little, I'd get we had these little jelly jars. Y'all ever see those? Like, or the old smoked meat would come in, you know. We'd have those. I'd get that down like a shot glass, pour me a shot of sweet tea, and knock it back. That's the truth. Like it always romanced me. I'd see them, like the westerns or whatever, at the bar, getting a shot of liquor, and that's what I was doing. Like I don't know whether that's got any significance or not, but I don't think most kids do that. I really don't think most kids come in and drink their sweet tea after school like shots of liquor. You know, and I was looking for something. I don't know, it was romancing me. So anyway, I didn't know. I tell this, and I knew something wasn't quite right with me. I wasn't sure what was up, but I knew I wasn't like everybody else. And my mom, I love my mom. Obviously, boys love their mom, but I think my mom knew that, so she kind of held me pretty close. She kept me a little closer than the other boys, and I was a knee baby, and I remember my mom. I remember being at a dentist's office in McCall, South Carolina. And this was the way my mom was. She called me Sunshine. Now I'm 50 years old up here saying that. You might think that's cheesy, but it's a pretty big deal for me to be able to remember that. And but I remember another child laughing at me because my mom called me Sunshine. And I remember how bad that bothered me. Like I was so worried what that kid thought of me. And my mom said, "Don't you worry about it. I love you, And well, I'm grateful for that memory. I'd give anything to hear her say Sunshine sometime, But here's the thing: is in these rooms, I've been able to see my mom in these rooms. That's the truth. I've seen people that remind me of my mom. I've heard them speak, and it sounded like my mom, And it's pretty incredible what you get out of these rooms when you really try. And the book says that when we really try, it means work the steps so we can have this different way of thinking. So anyway, I knew something was a little matter with me, and I was in the 4th grade over at Berkeley Elementary School in Aberdeen, and I remember sitting at a desk looking out across this playground thinking, man, I wonder what's the matter with me. I remember thinking that, like, why am I so nervous? And wonder what's the matter. I got this problem or something. What I believe today is it says it in the book is I was irritable, restless, and discontent in the 4th grade. Mainly restless. I wasn't sure. I hear people say everybody else got the manual, but I can remember. I remember that. Everybody's in the hallways trying to get to the class, and I'm going, man, how do they know what to do? Who told them to go over there? And always scared I was going to get on the wrong bus or miss the wrong, nervous wreck. And so I went through life like that. I started school early. So when I got into 9th grade, I was 13. So in the 8th grade, I was 12. And started smoking cigarettes at an early age. All my older brothers smoked at that time. My dad smoked. It's just what I did. I just followed suit, So I want y'all to know this right now. I love my daddy. Okay, but when he died, I didn't like him, and he knew I didn't like him. I knew it, and he knew it. And what I know now is I didn't like me. He had no idea what he was suffering from. And what he did, he taught me a lot of addictive behaviors, and he had no idea what he was doing. And what I did was taught my 2 boys a lot of addictive behaviors, and I had no idea what I was doing. I was just doing what I was taught by my daddy, and he was taught by his daddy, and he was taught by his daddy. What I love about Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous is by the grace of God and some work in Alcoholics Anonymous and great people in my life, I have a chance to break the chain of addiction in my family. My boys don't have to suffer the way I did or the way my daddy did till he died, or his daddy or his daddy. My boys can take my recovery with them. They can watch my actions. They see me pray. They see me turn towards God and use God. See, we had the exact same house that I grew up in. My wife was a true believer. She believed in God and she turned towards God. I knew there's something going, some underlying power, but I never turned towards it and used it, just like my dad. And I was leading my boys down the same road. Guess who they want to be like? Their daddy. I was teaching the same things. I had them in the Jeep outside the dope houses. I'm sorry, sorry about that comment, but here's the deal. I'm in that pamphlet. Everything started with alcohol with me, and it ended with alcohol with me, but there's a lot of stuff in the middle. Who knows? I might not even be here if it wouldn't be for that other stuff. I might still be out there drinking myself to death. I don't know. I believe it pushed me on in here because I got some charges because of it, and I got in here. So what happened was I went on through life, and I remember I broke my arm, and the first time I ever felt what I called a warm blanket was when they fixed my arm, The doctor told me to, count to 8 when I stick this in your arm, and I felt that warm feeling come across me. I didn't know what it was, but it was okay. And then, of course, they gave me some stuff to go home with. My mom had it, but then the next time I felt it, I was in and I remember this like it was yesterday. I was in a black 1976 Monte Carlo at Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. I believe the reason my brain remembers that because it liked it. And I was in the back seat, my bro was in the front seat, and I forced down 2 16-ounce, we call them stovepipes, Budweisers. Forced them down. Now, I had to sit, but when I got those 2 in my gut, I felt that warm blanket again. And I remember thinking, that's why they do this. That's why they drink these things, because I always thought they tasted terrible. But now I get why they do this. I'm not going to say it was going to fix everything for me, anything like that, but I did know this. I was going to do a whole lot more of it, and I did. We went for a long time, me and friends around my neighborhood. This is what we did. We'd say, hey, we're going. My mom and dad were pretty strict. I had curfews and everything. They tried their best to keep the range on me, but it won't happen. Like I'd tell them, we're going to go to the movies. We'd take off walking, never hit the movies. We'd have T.J. Swan, Boone's Farm. We drank it all, And I remember drinking Green Label, Evan Williams, Black Velvet under the dogwood tree out behind Old Pinehurst Motor Lodge. We wouldn't go nowhere. We'd go right down the road, go under the dogwood tree. Ain't nothing else going on, 4 or 5 of us. And I remember holding my breath to get it down because I hated how it tasted. Or I'd take a little shot of Coke before I put the liquor in my mouth and then pour the liquor in my mouth and drink it because I hated how it tasted. It was all about getting it in me. I have never in my life ever drank for taste. And I've always drank for effect. I've always did everything I've done for effect. See, my wife, she can drink for taste. I told this a little while back. I think last time I spoke, I'd just come off vacation. So I just come off vacation a little while back, and we're down there, and my wife wants a bottle of wine. And, shit don't bother me. It don't bother me at all. Like, I don't want nothing to do with it. I'm good to go. I have a great life the way this is. I don't need no wine, no mind-altering chemicals. I have a great time with life today. But we're in this Aldi's. I've never been in an Aldi's. Is it Aldi's? I think it's Aldi's down there. And they got a rack of wine about long as this building. And she's looking. And we're in there about 15 minutes. And she's still looking. And I said, what are you looking for? I mean, there's just 55-gallon drums of wine in here, And she said, I'm looking. She's named the name of the wine, Tony something. And I finally said, look, just get the expensive one. Let's go. Let's get on out of here. So she finally found, she said, there it is. And she took it. And that was about 2 days into vacation. We're going to be there 7 days. That bottle of wine is under my sink in Aberdeen or Southern Pines right now. Ain't never been opened. Now, see, I get these, that's the truth now, and I get these moments like, that's normal. Like, normal people can do that, not me. I'm drinking. You know what I'm saying? If I ain't got the corkscrew, I've done it. So if you some of you broke the top off of it. I ain't got no corkscrew. Like I'm about to drink it. She get her own glass out at the beach. She got her little Clorox in her glass because it's a rented place, and she ain't gonna. Now I hope she don't listen to this one. But anyway, she got her little glass there and that bottle of wine sitting there, and I'm watching it all week. It never moves. My son, Ben, he got him a 6-pack of beer. I said, what do you think? I said, I think you're going to get it, whether we get it or not. I don't care. So when we left, he got him a Yeti cooler, And I guess you got to have that to be cool. Well, when we left, that Yeti cooler's out on the porch. And I opened the top up on it, and there's 4 beers floating around in warm water. Closed the cooler and said, we ain't got no problem with him. That's the truth. I ain't about to do that. I'm drinking that, and I'm getting her wine too. That's the truth. At his age, I'm drinking everything I get my hands on, then I'm down the road with somebody else doing whatever I got to do. Now, I was talking to John earlier tonight. This is the way my mind works and the disease of alcoholism works in me. I was at the beach the whole week. We was down there at senior week, and they're smoking marijuana on the beach. I smell it. No big deal, ain't no big deal to me. I don't care. They're having a good time. I see them, they're rolling around, throwing up on each other, doing all that. I'm sitting here with my family, and I'm good to go. And, you know, people drinking beer everywhere. I don't care. I go to dinner with my wife. She has a glass of wine, and when I get home, everything good. I don't want to drink. I get home, I open the refrigerator door, and there's a can of Ready Whip. Now, some of you old heads know what I'm talking about. My mind says, take a hit. That's the truth. I whip it. Now I call it that bullshit. That's my mind telling me that'd be a little fun. Ain't nothing fun about that. I do that, the wheels will come and slam off. I'm gone again. But that's the truth. But that's the way my mind works. All that, I went through that whole week, but then, so what I do, I pray, telling on it tonight. How ridiculous is that? Just told you how great it is. I remember Mary Kay, is she in here? I remember her standing up here one night, and it stuck with me when she said, I wish I could just put this thing in you. If you don't have it, I wish I could just put it in you. And that stuck with me. Because if you don't have this thing, boy, I wish I could put it in you. It's such a great way to live. I'm so grateful for the people that put up with me when I come over here, and I was crying about having to go to prison, and I kept talking about dope when I probably shouldn't have been or whatever, but they were tolerant of me. It's what the book said. They were loving and tolerant of me long enough for me to stay, because you know what? I needed to be able to talk about that stuff. I really did. So what happened was I kept drinking like that on the weekends. I did really good in high school. I got out of high school, moved down to Wilmington, ran a restaurant down there for a while with my brother. Partied the whole time, drinking, partying. Just that really managed my whole life. Like, you know, I managed my life to drink and get high. That's what I did. Like everything I did, I had to be able to do that. So then I moved back to town here and went to work at a place called Arrow. It was Arrow back then. It's Ingersoll Rand now up in Southern Pines. And I'm running a machine in there. And I met my wife when I was running that restaurant here in town. I come back to run a restaurant here. And I met her. And it's, I don't know, I'm going to tell y'all this. I'm a fortunate one that got to experience love at first sight. Like when my wife walked in the room, I knew that was it. And, you know, that's special. I'm grateful for that. But she was innocent. She's 16 years old, you know. And I told somebody the other day about she was just innocent. This was a great girl. She was raised by good people. And I remember the day she stopped crying about the things I was doing. I remember standing in my house saying some horrible things to her across our bar. And I realized she don't cry no more. See, she's sick of me. She had it with me and my untreated alcoholism. She still loved me, but she didn't like me at all. So I had met her, and I was working at Arrow there. And I worked there about 5 years. But I realized if we're going to have any kind of life, I better go back to school. I'd never gone back to school. Had a chance to go with a free ride, and of course I was too smart for that. I said, I don't need that. I'll go get rich quick. Now this time I had to pay for it. Sure wish I'd have listened the first time. But anyway, I went to Sand Hills, got a 2-year degree in manufacturing systems and another little certificate in architectural AutoCAD. And what I did with that degree is I did really good with it. I come out and went to work for a place right just through the way here as a Power Boss. It's no longer there. It just shut down. But I went to work in there as just an industrial engineer, and setting up an assembly line. And in a few years I was running it, and did really good. I had, drinking, a lot of other things the whole time, and I started to think I was God. I believe, but I made it all happen. Started to make some really good money. Meanwhile, my wife, she was a nurse. She still is. And here's what happened. Early on, I was making most of the money and paying most of the bills. But as my untreated alcoholism took over, just kind of in a nutshell, I started to be unable to make that money anymore. And while I was being unable to make that money, she started making more money, and she didn't need me no more. And she let me know that. When she said, you ain't coming back here no more. Last time I went to jail on felony number 15 and 16, and I'm not proud of that, but that's where it ended up at. So I am a convicted felon, and I'm okay with that. That's just what it took. I've only been convicted of one, but that's enough. It was enough to get me in here. I believe I had to have it to be here, and I'm grateful I got it because I'm here, and I'm happy today. So what happened was I made a lot of money, traveled around the world, did a lot of around the world traveling, did a lot of around the world drinking. I don't know if I think about drinking. I've drank Singapore slings in Singapore, just to say I did it. I think about it sometimes. Man, if I'd have been in recovery then, I could have done meetings in all those countries. That'd have been really neat to be able to do that. But what happened was alcohol. I got a DWI when I was 21, way before I got this job, and the night I turned 21. Should have been an indicator, maybe. But here's what happened. Everybody said, "Oh, you were just partying," But I turned 21 at midnight. At 5 o'clock, I was blowing, So anyway, I said then, I'll never get another DWI because I'm never going to drink and drive again. I remember that, and I drank and drove again because I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. I had to drink. So in business, you drink and you drive. That's what I did. Not I did. I'm not going to say you, but that's what I did. Was go up to the beef eaters and just get sloppy and drive home. And I realized, man, this can't go on. And my wife's smelling it, and everybody's smelling it. I'm starting to have it. Like during the day, I'm going at lunch and knocking it back at lunchtime, and then at night to get through. And got some other stuff going on, some cocaine usage in there. But it was always it was the alcohol thing. But here's what happened is I found opiates. And what they did for me was exactly what alcohol did, but they didn't smell. You couldn't smell it. And I eat like a horse. I could eat, and I could function really good on it. And but I didn't know what a Pandora's box it really was. I had no idea what I was opening up. And so I went for a few years, and I had a lot of money. I could afford it. But as you know, if you've ever dealt with it, that goes away pretty quick. I became unemployable. I remember I was sleeping in my bed, and I woke up when my employees was over, and he said, "Mark, man, you got to come to work. Corporate's at work, and they're wondering where you are." And I'm passed out in the bed. That's just the way where it got. And I held on for a while because I believe I was pretty good at what I did, and they wanted me, but it just got to the point where they couldn't keep me around anymore, and they fired me. And they fired me on 6/6 of 06. And when I come in and told my wife I got fired, she said, "That's okay because you work for the devil anyway." She didn't like the man I worked for because I blamed a lot of stuff on him, But when we read that book, and it talks about Bill Wilson saying, "If there is a devil, he's got a hold of me absolutely." I had a moment with that in that book because I remember thinking, if you only knew, he ain't the devil, I'm the devil. I'm the one, So my kids started to grow, and I ain't proud of any of the things I've done from them, but I stole from them, stole from my wife. Everybody likes a hot water heater story, so I guess I'll tell it. I was on my couch, dope sick. I didn't have what I needed. Call it hungover, whatever you want to call it. That's what I was, though, and it was bad. And I had to figure out a way to get what I needed. And my mind, it knew what to do. So what I did was I got off the couch. I slept on the couch the last 8 years I was out there. My wife slept in the bedroom. That's the powerlessness for me. I wanted to be in there with my wife, but I couldn't be. I had to be on the couch so I could get up and go do what I wanted to do. I remember I got this old building. I'm coming back to the water heater story. Don't let me forget. If I do, somebody remind me. But I got this building behind my house, and I heard a speaker say one time, "You ain't got to be homeless to sleep in a gutter." That was my gutter. It was terrible, man. Empty beer cans everywhere. I'd use the bathroom in the beer cans because I didn't want to go outside and use the bathroom. They're just sitting everywhere. Some of y'all been in it, it's just nasty. There's no way to exist, but that's what I did. That's why I'd be in there, $300,000 house, wife and kids, and I'm in a 24 by 24 building because I got to be there to do what I do. That's what it got to, and I just discussing really what it turned me into. And Anyway, I was laying on this couch one night. I'd come in to lay on the couch, and I didn't have anything. And you know, when you can't get anything, you got a lot of friends when you get it. But when you ain't got it and can't get it, you ain't got no friends. They on their own. They take care of them. So I'm by myself, and I'm on this couch going, what am I going to do? And I got the bright idea. I went downstairs under the house and cut the hot water heater off. And I come back up and laid on the couch, laid awake on the couch hurting. And my wife got up to go to work. She went to take a shower, and she come out and said, Mark, there's something matter with the hot water heater. And I said, okay, I'll go check it out. And I went upstairs and downstairs and beat on some rafters, did whatever I did. And I come back upstairs and said, it's shot. We got to have a new one. And she said, how much is that going to cost? And I said, $500. She wrote me a check. She took a cold shower. She went to work. I went downstairs, turned the hot water heater on, and went and got hot. And that's one of thousands of stories that I did. See, I spent all my money. Now I'm trying to get at her money. What little bit she had held back for our family. I say my money, it's my family's money. When I lost that job, I had a 401. I had an opportunity, just like in Bill's story. I remember seeing a good step one for me. Bill's story, he's talking about he had this opportunity with the stocks. He built up this great opportunity. I did the same thing. I went up to Minnesota, sold myself to this company, said, I can do this for you. They want to build the same kind of product that I've just been doing. I can do this. They said, okay, great. You can work from home. All you got to do is call us next week, do a few things, and you got the job. It's going to be about the same money I was making. I had this 401. What I did was I yanked my 401 out, took the penalty on it. I went in that building. I didn't come out till all the money was gone. That's what I did. And when I come out of that building, I called that job up there and said, all right, I'm ready to go. And they said, who are you? We're not doing that anymore. We can't count on you. I just like I had every reason to do that, just like in Bill's story, but I did that. I started doing that. Had the money. I couldn't stop. It just had to run itself out. I was talking to somebody the other day. If y'all from around here, you remember them old broomstraw fields? They used to be around here all the time. That's kind of the way my addiction ran, is alcoholism. You know, when I was a kid, we'd play with matches, and we'd light that broomstraw on fire, and you stomp it out. And every now and then it gets so big, the whole field would just have to burn out. And that's where I got with alcoholism. It got so big, so out of control, it just had to burn itself out. And what happened was, I got charged with some felonies for embezzlement, and I stole a lot of money. I did. I ain't proud of it. I did. I've made my restitution, paid that money back. Got out of them, though. I got out on 2 misdemeanors. I'm getting into recovery, guys. But here's what happened. I got a couple more felonies, and I didn't get out of those. And they were for possession of some guns and some drugs, and that's not good when that's together. I'd already had a couple of run-ins with the ATF, and they're not real nice guys when you're not doing the right things. So I ended up in jail. Called my wife and told her, started lying. And she said, no, you're not going to lie to me anymore. She said, what we're going to do is I'm going to file for separation. And it takes a year in North Carolina to get a divorce. And we'll see what you do about your problem in a year. And bye. Pretty much, So I'm standing in this jail, I'm crying. Because this woman I met that I knew was the love of my life, when I met her at 16, it's over. Right, it's over. So I believe that was like my emotional bottom. Anyway, I went from there. I called. My brother got me out on house arrest, went to my mom's house because I couldn't go home. My wife brought my dogs over there to see me, and my kids over there to see me. And I remember when I seen Ben's 20 now, back then he was 15. I remember when he walked up and seen me, he said he didn't want to be there. I know he loved me, but he just got back from camp. He said, I want to go back to camp. He just, I ruined his life too. Mom and Dad aren't together anymore. So what I did was I called a lady by the name of Becky Carlson. I told her I needed to go away for a year. That's the time frame my wife had put in my head was a year, and she said, you don't need to go away for a year. You need to go down to Rockingham for 28 days, Samaritan Colony. That's all you need. So I went down there, and man, it was tough. The first 18 days was rough because I was sick again. I didn't have what keeps me from getting sick. And what I will tell you, though, when I say it ended with alcohol, I was sick at my mom's house and couldn't get to what I needed. And I talked my brother into going to get me a 6-pack. because I was going to try to drink that sick off of me, and it didn't work. It wouldn't work. It was just terrible. So the last mind-altering chemicals I put in my body was a 6-pack of beer. And the first thing I ever put in my body was 2 stovepipes on my own, you know. Started with it, ended with it. So I'm at the colony, and I'm really not getting it. That's what's happening, is I'm not getting it. I'm that guy that's just ain't, whatever, guy, whatever. And I'm I'm back there in the bully. It's July. I'm the guy, give me that fan, you ain't getting it. I'm going to get the last pork chop. I'm that dude. If y'all been to the colony, you know what I'm talking about. Y'all all have one. Well, I was one of them, and I wasn't sleeping at night because it was so bad, and first 2 weeks was really torture. That's the right word for it, is torture, you know. And but what happened was I was fortunate enough to be down there with when Harold. I really didn't like Harold. I got to tell you that. I just didn't like him. He was rough, and he just tell you the truth is what it was. I didn't like the truth. And today I love Harold, obviously. He's a father figure in my life. I'll tell you this real quick is, you know, my sons don't have any grandfathers. And this is the type of man he is. I know this is my story, but he's part of my story. My son was playing football, 8th grade, and Harold come from Rockingham all the way down there to watch him play football. So my son would have a grandfather figure in the stands. You know, that's what Alcoholics Anonymous does. We lose fathers and grandfathers, and Alcoholics Anonymous replace fathers and grandfathers with grandfather and father figures and mother figures, you know. So, among a lot of other things. So that's special to me. You know, Harold texted me before I got here tonight. We've been working on some stuff together, and he told me how grateful he really was for our relationship. And I just told him, man, we thick as thieves, you know. And I love me some Harold. But anyway, he'd been rough on me. And here's what happened is I was down there on the anniversary of his son dying as a result of active addiction. And I just happened to be there during that time. I believe I needed to be there. And I didn't like him. On Sunday we have a chapel service. And I was sitting in there, and he was up behind the pulpit similar to this. And he started talking about his son dying. And he started to cry. And when he started to cry, I started to cry. And I don't know, it's because I was thinking about my children and what I was doing to my children. Here's what I believe happened to me in Samaritan Colony as I woke up. It's like I'd been sleeping, this deep sleep or something, just what the book says, it's the only life I knew. I didn't know the truth from the false. This is all I knew. I didn't know I could live the way I live today, happy without alcohol. So it's like I woke up and looked around me and said, man, I'm 44. My life passed me by. Look how much time I've lost with loved ones. I slept on the couch for 8 years, things like that. And then after that, every time I walk in that chapel, I start bawling like a baby. You know, I remember asking Robert down there, I said, man, why do you reckon I cry every time I go into that chapel? Like, I can't even go in there, I cry. He said, well, we just call that the Spirit of God and go with that. And, you know, so I go to that chapel every Sunday morning now. I love to be down there and part of that service, and I'm fortunate to do that. Here's what happened after that, though. The following Monday morning, I come in, and I looked Harold in the eyes when he was doing those classes at 8 o'clock every morning. I wasn't even sure what he's talking about a lot of times because I was still kind of cloudy, but I was trying to get it. And here's what I seen happen. Because when I started looking him in the eye and paying attention to him, he started paying attention to me. He started talking to me because I was ready. That's all he's looking for, the one looking at him. I didn't realize it. So I started looking at him. He started talking to me, looking me right in the eyes, telling me, trying to relate to me. You know, he's done it for me every day since I got out of there. He texts me every day of my life. Every morning of my life I get a text from him. I have for over 5 years now. And, of course, I text him. And he teaches me things with those texts. Like people in Alcoholics Anonymous teach me things like, I remember one morning I sent him a text and I said, bless you, Harold. And I sent him a text right behind it. I went, oh, it's panicking because it's Harold. You know? I said, I forgot I left God out. All I said was bless you, right? So I sent him another text and I said, I left God out. Well, classic Harold, he sent me one back and said, God good whether you remember him or not. Man, that hit home with me. Like, he's good whether I remember him or not. It's up to me to remember him. You know, today I choose to remember God on a daily basis. That's what I do. And if I do that, I have pretty good days. So y'all know a lot of story. Y'all been in the rooms with me. I see Kelly nodding over here. I remember things like, first time I ever heard anybody say, my life ain't none of my business, come out of your mouth. Sitting right there. And I remember thinking, wow. And that's the truth. It ain't none of my business. My business, tell me in the book what my purpose is, to help somebody else. Do more for others than I do for myself. You know, and if I do that, God's going to do for me. If I stay close to Him, perform His work well, God's going to do for me. And some days I do better at it, and some days I don't. So what I was talking about going to the colony for today and being off is that's some of my service work. I go down there and weed eat, and I love to do it. You know, we have you know, y'all know what we do. We've got the recovery homes here now, so those guys report their service work to us. A lot of the guys in this room right here go to the colony on a regular basis. And I'm going to tell you now, I'm grateful for it. I know the guys down there are grateful for it. They talk about it after you're down there, you know. And they need to see that. And I needed to see that. You know, so today, like that's what it was like was I was totally confused in life, miserable, wasn't sure what was going on, insecure my whole life. What happened was a lot of stuff, but what really happened was, I call it divine intervention. You call it what you want. I believe I reached that point of desperation, like a drowning man. And me and Pat were talking about this the other day, is I can't do that to myself, right? Like, alcoholism did that. That's where I got to this point where I'll grab hold of anything. I don't care whether I like you or not, right? I'm drowning. I need some help. If you reach down, I'm going to grab your hand, and that's what I try to do. So today what I try to do is reach out so somebody can grab a hand. And I told you, like, I started out with Harold and I didn't like him much, but I love him today. It don't really matter whether people like me or not. What matters is whether I like them or not. You know, I read this little book every day. It's In God's Care. And there's a page in there, I love it. It says, if I'm not doing what I do on a daily basis out of love for another person, then that's my will. And what I'm doing, if I'm doing what I'm doing out of love for another person on a daily basis, out of love, that's God's will. Straightens me out right there. You know, helps me with that. So, let's see. Well, I said life's really good, didn't I? So it is. Today, I said it up here a while back, today I don't have to have the nicest car in the drive. I'm happy with my little Corolla. I want my boys to have a nice ride and my wife to have a nice car. You know, I try to give back, be of service to them and service to others. What life is like today really is busy. It's busy with Alcoholics Anonymous and people in recovery. I come to these rooms, one is because I want what I've got, and two is because it's where my friends are. It's just where I hang out at. And I know I'm going to be with y'all one way or another, either in here or out there. And out there it ain't good, and in here life's really good, you know. So I have these things that happen to me every now and then. I'll stop at a stop sign like down there by O'Reilly's down there, you know, Buffalo Wild Wings, and I have this thought come floating through my mind, and it says, I bet you can drink a beer. Man, that's that lie. That same old lie. There ain't nothing going to be fun. Why do you want to drink a beer? I'm having a good time. But here's what I need to do is talk about it. Pray on it, talk about it, smash it. Because if I let it fester and try to deal with it on my own, it'll cut me out of the pack, and it'll get me. I believe that. I've seen it happen recently with some of our guys. It's terrible. It's just terrible, man. But for the grace of God, there go I. If I practice what I preach and talk about it, pray about it, do what Alcoholics Anonymous has taught me to do, work the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, you know. And I know I haven't talked about the steps a whole lot, but that is the suggested program of recovery. I'm so grateful for them, you know. So I'm just going to run down it real quick. So one was, my first step was done when I got to the colony. It got done on the street. I knew I was powerless and my life was unmanageable. And if that was the case, if I was powerless, they started putting step 2 in front of us down there, then I needed a power greater than me. And it ain't no doorknob. It ain't no tree out back. I wasn't dumb. I knew there's capital G-O-D. They put it on the board. It's God. And but the good news was they told me I didn't have to believe. I just had to be willing to do what they said and be willing to believe. That was really good news for me, because I had never believed. I'd always questioned God. I was agnostic, you know. So then 3 is, okay, then I'm just going to do that. And the way I do that is 4 through 12. And then 4, I've seen a lot of ugly stuff that made me look at my mistake, just like the book says. See, I lived over here and what people had done to me my whole life, and all that self-pity and everything because of that. That made me take a look at where my troubles were my own making. What I had done in life, what I had done to those people, and how I'd felt about those people. And then I admitted it, the way it was explained to me, I admitted it to God for forgiveness, to myself for honesty, and to another man for humility. And then in steps 6 and 7, as a result of 1 through 5, I knew I wasn't going to be happy with life ever again the way I'd been living with drugs and alcohol. And so now I'm ready to have God remove my defects of character. And so it changed steps. Joe and Charlie talking about being changed steps. So that's what I did, and I started to do my very best to be the opposite of those things. And I ain't like that all every day, but I do my best to be unselfish, to be a little more courageous, ask God to help me do that, to be less self-seeking, more into helping others. And then I do my daily inventories, get up in the morning. Of course, I've done my 8 and 9, making my amends. I still got some amends to make. I owed a lot of money, and it takes a while. But and then 10 and 11, I love those. I do them every day. And then 12, I'm doing it now, trying to carry the message. And I have had my spiritual awakening. I've had my experience, and it's mine. Nobody can take it away. It belongs to me. I got it because of the work. If you do the steps, you'll have one too. Everybody I've done the steps with has one. And nobody can take it from you either. All I can do is, if I don't maintain it, or even, I think, improve it on a daily basis, then I'll slip back away. It's mine, though. I have to take care of it. It's mine. I'm supposed to take care of it. Let's see. And I'm grateful to be here tonight. I'm going to tell you one more story. I like this story because it's about this thing where I know I've never drank for taste. My wife drinks for taste. So I talk about this. Well, I went a couple of years, and I knew she liked a glass of wine, especially with fish. And I always wanted her to drink a glass of wine. I always had this feeling like she couldn't drink because of me. I had some good people in my life, sponsorship, tell me that ain't none of my business. She'll drink when she's ready to drink, So one day we're at Bonefish, and she asked me, would you mind if I got a glass of wine? And I said, well, I thought you'd never ask. Of course not. I'm having water. And she got a glass of wine, and they brought the wine. This is a true story. She brought the wine, and she said, I said, what's the matter? She said, it's cold. I said, what? It's cold. She said, yeah, I wanted it room temperature. So that's the things that get put in front of me. Like, she's normal. She wants to drink it for taste. She can do that. She cares if it's, I don't care if it's been sitting on the air conditioner out in 105 degrees outside. As a matter of fact, it might get to my head a little quicker. Let's try it. You know what I'm saying? Let's warm it up. Or if we drink it through a straw. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If I drink it through a straw, I'll get a little quicker. So I got in this discussion with her, like, now you know you're not just drinking that for taste. You're going to try to catch a little buzz. And she said, no, I'm not. I'm drinking it for taste. And here's what I realized over that conversation is I couldn't understand like how she could drink that for taste. And she couldn't understand how I can't drink it for taste. She has no idea about it because she don't have it. Like, and there ain't nothing I can say can explain it to her. Like, I've got it. You got to have it, I believe, to understand it. Like what it does to you. Like, I can't even fathom not drinking that because it's cold. What does that mean? Really, but she can't understand why I can't just have one. And so I don't need to try to explain that anymore. I need to understand I can't have one. And she can do whatever she wants, with it, but I can't. So I'm grateful for tonight. I'm grateful to be able to talk to you guys. I'm grateful for everybody in the room. Thanks for letting me talk. Anything else? Oh, I told you my wife didn't like me. Right? She likes me again. She really does. I know you guys are ready to go. So one more story. Let me tell one more story. I like stories. So here's the thing. I was driving motorcycles. Y'all heard this before. I was riding motorcycles back and forth to Burlington, North Carolina for a year straight, and fast bikes. And I was jacked up the whole time. I was high the whole time. I remember riding a motorcycle in the rain towards Southern Pines thinking I got to get to what I got to get. Whether I crash and die, I'm either going to crash or I'm going to get to it in the rain. I did that for a year. And when I went to the colony, I was going to ride an old slow motorcycle down to the colony for a meeting, and I was walking out the door, and my wife said, "Be careful, I don't like you riding that motorcycle." And I said, "What are you talking about? I rode a lot faster bikes than this for a year." And she said, "I didn't like you then." Now that's a moment of clarity, right? I was just early in recovery, and I turned to her and I said, "What are you saying? You wanted me dead?" And she said, "No, I didn't say that at all, Mark." She said, "What I didn't want was you around me." And what I know today is she loved me, but she didn't like me. Today we love each other, we like each other. And the last thing I'm going to say is Tom S. sits over here a lot. He helped me out one night. He said, "Mark, your marriage is kind of like a triangle." And I think that's appropriate for Alcoholics Anonymous. And he drew a triangle, and he put Connie's name down at this bottom corner over here, and he put my name down here over at this corner. And he said, "See that distance between you?" And then he put God's name at the top. And he said, when you both get on the path to God, you'll never be closer. And that's been my experience with Alcoholics Anonymous. Thanks for letting me share.